Black Sea was never a priority for the department or for NATO. Um, we never had enough requirements for the Navy anyway. So you can't blame Montreux for us not having more naval presence. It just wasn't high enough in the priority list to generate the ships necessary to compete against the Black Sea Fleet. So this is part of the huge advantage that the Russians had there. The second thing, and I think this is part of why they felt pretty confident back in February last year that they could roll into Kyiv the way they did in Budapest and Prague during the Cold War, was because we were a mess. The collective we were a mess. This is what failed deterrence looks like. The U.S. had steadily been drawing down forces in Europe. All of our allies, including UK, had been drawing down. The Dutch had given away or sold their last tank. The German Bundeswehr, which used to be the envy of land forces in Europe, was nothing like what it used to be. And so we didn't look unified. There wasn't a sense of urgency. I can't tell you how many times I encountered really good, well-meaning, smart people would kind of roll their eyes when I would talk about, or my boss, General Breedlove, would talk about what needs to be done. And people's like, come on, they're not going to do this. You guys need to settle down. Or I would hear things like Crimea has always been part of Russia. So there's so much false narratives out there that that were not challenged enough because it was very uncomfortable. Because you would have to, if you acknowledge a threat, you got to do something about it. Look, what happened between 2014 and 2022 would be a great course for international relations students or strategic planners and thinkers, because the height of American discourse for much of that time was whether or not to provide Javelin. I mean, Javelin is a man-portable anti-tank system, but that was about the peak of our strategic thinking. And you, I think, correctly sort of tried to separate the fact, the political stuff that was going on that really distracted everybody from why do we care? I mean, what's going on in Ukraine? Why does Ukraine matter to us? And I think, as always, it goes back to what is our political objective? What is our strategic objective for the region? And there was no strategy for the Black Sea region. We would talk about Ukraine as if it was an island. We talk about Georgia as if it's an island. We talk about Turkey as if it's an island. But yet all of these nations are bound together because of their proximity. They're being on the Black Sea. So you have to have a regional approach, because that affects everything that Russia does. And so we to help Ukraine. And then look, there's a lot of good people, both parties involved in trying to get this right. But what we always lacked was clear direction and guidance. And NATO had no plan for the region. And so in NATO, without an approved plan, you can't do much else. You can't generate requirements. And so there was a lot of, thanks to people like General Breedlove, trying to figure out what can and should we do. And there were some good things that happened. The alliance, for example, did put forward Black Sea air policing, and they were flying out of Romania. So that was an attempt at least to get some combat aircraft in the area. And various U.S. Navy Europe commanders, Jamie Foga was the one with whom I served the longest, did everything he could to get U.S. Navy presence in the Black Sea, but he was competing with other requirements as well.